Evening Boro fans, James Hutchinson here. Welcome to BoroFanTV and this special edition of the third half with Teesside's own double world BDO darts champion Glen Duzza Durrant. Welcome to the show, Glen.
That's an introduction, thank you.
You're welcome. Last 2 weeks, been a bit of a whirlwind for you. What's it been like since you won the world title?
Well, first and foremost, it's been fantastic. I mean, the support I've had from everybody, you know, from work, family, and Teesside on, you know, in general, it's just been absolutely very humbling. I've learned a lot of mistakes from last year. I could argue that I was maybe doing too much and couldn't really soak it all in. So, just taking for example the Boro match this week, you know, I got a chance to see the game. I was able to go in the dressing room. I met Steve Gibson, and this time I really thought, just take all this in, Glen, and really enjoy it. So I'm just having a fantastic time.
Fantastic, that's what it's all about. Well done, Glen. Obviously, people know of your love of the Boro, but what are your earliest memories of the Boro, and who were your first heroes?
Well, there's two or three answers to that. I mean, my first, I remember it's in school, and we were doing a PE class, and the first people to name as many England rugby players, and I remember there was a guy called Peter Winterbottom, and I remembered him from a game, and I came up and was one of the guys who then got tickets to go with the school to watch Boro play Watford.
Right.
Now that must have been, I remember number one in the charts was Michael Jackson, Thriller, so we're probably looking at 84, something 85, 86. So, and it was a drab 0-0 cold Tuesday night game.
Good preparation for life as a Boro fan then,
yeah, so I didn't go back for about 3 or 4 years, but my Boro history is Bruce Rioch.
Yeah.
I was home and away 1988 to 1990, round about them games, and had some fantastic times. Bernie Sladen smashing them in from 25 yards, and I remember a game away to Huddersfield, and all the Huddersfield massive were waiting for the Boro to come off the train, and 4 lads who'd been playing Teesside boys billiards, 14, 15-year-old, got off the train, and there we go, and they were just all and we walked down Leeds Road, and Brian Laws, I remember, scoring.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I think, or he broke his leg, or came back from a broken leg, or something like that. So I have fantastic memories as a Boro fan. My hero was definitely Archie Stevens.
Great centre forward.
The greatest player I ever saw was Gary Hamilton. So for me, Archie Stevens, Gary Hamilton are my number two, my top two.
If you put those two players there, you'd have some player, wouldn't you? The level of commitment from those two and that.
They tell me that Archie just in training was rubbish, but there was just something about him when you say a match on, and and his relationship with Slave, and obviously is what I remember. There's a bit like the Palace to Mowbray at the back. So happy memories.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yourself, Glen, did you enjoy playing football when you were younger, and did you play for any teams locally?
I was a good 5-a-side player,
right.
And I did dip me toe into the 11-a-side game, but that was brutal. Yeah. And I remember I played for Thornaby, and we played Brambles Farm or Cargafleet, someone like that.
Oh, a good local derby there then.
Yeah, it was a 50-50 ball. I won the ball, kicked it away, and then 10 seconds later, he slide tackled me, and I was like, this is not for me. Yeah. I'm not I'll stick to 5-a-side. So I didn't have much pace, good talker on the pitch. Yeah, I think I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, but that was my history of football.
Oh, good stuff. And when and how did you then become interested in darts, Glen?
Touching on the Huddersfield thing there, I was a boys billiards player.
Right.
And I was beginning to knock 100 breaks in round about there, but nowhere near the top players in the area. I was just a very good billiards player. That progressed into the men's league, and I was representing the Grangetown St Mary's, and one night we were playing Billingham Social, and they were short at darts.
Right.
I threw a few arrows at the board previously, and I remember hitting double 13 to win the game, and that feeling inside I'd never had in a game of billiards or snooker. Yeah. So then I was hooked.
Right.
1989 was the infamous Eric Bristow versus Jockey Wilson game.
That's right.
Good teenager. I then didn't throw a dart age 19 to 30. Met my wife to be. Started the family. Buying a home. So really, my life started to change around about 30-year-old.
Right. And what triggered the change then for you to think, after 11 years not picking up your arrows, to think, right, I'm going to go back and play darts again?
Just a chance meeting with a guy called Albie Crane, and I hope Albie watches this, because I always think about that moment. had I not gone down the shops that day. And he just bumped in and said, we're short, get yourself back playing darts. You know, for them couple of years, I then practiced 5 hours a night for 5 or 6 years. Then got married, and then we created a thing called the Teesside ranking events. And I knocked on every pub and club door in the area, and we created these events. And I learned how to go into a pub at 10 in the morning and win the final at 6 o'clock at night. And then transferable skills went onto the BDO circuit. So definitely round about 2009, 2010, that's when my career changed.
And like you say, you've just touched on it a little bit there. It's like a phenomenal amount of commitment you have to put in terms of the hours with your practicing, isn't it? Can you give us an indication of like how much practice you do at the moment or before a major tournament?
Yeah, of course I will. I mean, I've got my shirt and tie on right now because I've just finished work, and work for coast and country is really important to me. It gives the balance in life. You know, so many people since I've won said, why are you still working? Well, I'm 30 years this year into working there. So, but I do sit behind a desk all day, and I guess my bit of exercise on the night is, you know, going home and having a practice on the board. So I always have 1 hour on the board. But, you know, Lakeside month prior to that, you know, that'll kick into up to 5 hours a night. So, but I practice every single night.
Oh, fantastic. Now, obviously I was doing a little bit of research before we did the show tonight, and I checked out that you'd won 6 majors in your career. 2 World Championships, which we know about, 2 World Masters and 2 Finders Masters. How do they compare, like, with each other? Or
I remember a moment when I got my first England cap, and I was in a hotel in Merthyr Tydfil. And then the England manager knocked on my door and said, there's your shirt. And I stood in the mirror and I was like, I'll never get a feeling like this again. You know, that was the moment. I was doing okay in the BDO, and then the World Masters, I was always quarterfinals. It was seen to be a competition that suited my style of the game. And when I won the World Masters in Hull for the first time, it was brilliant. And you played in like a town hall, so, and right to the right hand side of the hockey there, the Boro Massive were in force. Flags, scarves, you know, they were singing Pig Bag all the way. So that was a wonderful feeling. The Finder Masters is it's like a mock exam for in my age, the O levels. So it's just prior to Lakeside, and pretty much your game should be on blob at that point, because within 2 weeks you're playing the World Championship. So to win the Finder Master, which is a TV televised in Holland, it was nice to win, but nothing, absolutely nothing compares to this baby here. So the 2 wins I've had at Lakeside supersede anything I've ever done in darts.
Because I must admit, I had to pinch myself tonight when I came in, and you can see some of the names on here. You see Eric Bristow, John Lowe, Jockey Wilson, all those names. And you must pinch yourself as well when you think, that's actually, I've won that 2 years in a row.
I definitely do.
I
definitely do. I'm a real darts connoisseur, and never for one moment did I think I would win that trophy. You know, it's very emotional. It's been a fantastic journey, and it just goes to show you that with hard work and determination, you know, even when you're in your late 40s and moving on, that you can still become a world champion. And it's very flattering, and you know, people who I just want everyone to see the trophy. It's a magnificent thing, and I'm so proud of it.
Oh, it should be. And the Lakeside itself, the venue where the World Championship takes place, seems an amazing venue. I've never been there myself, but it seems to have a special atmosphere of its own. Can you describe what it's like when you're playing there, Glen?
A swarm of bees behind you.
Right.
So you've got 1,800 people behind you. Nobody's shouting, but nobody is quiet. So there's like a murmur. And there's a huge amount of a smoke machine. So that's the smell. So that smoke machine that you see at dodgy weddings, etc., and things like that, that unique smell of that. Then you've got these masses of lights of TV. And when you're playing on a stage, it's over 100 degrees on there. It's an incredible atmosphere. And I've been to all the PDC tournaments. I've been to the Premier League. I've played in the Grand Slam. The Lakeside atmosphere is unique. And I think it's unique because I'm meeting you away from the front of the audience, and you can hear them. You can, you know, it's just, it's special. It's very unique, and it's very special. And sometimes you can think, Bristow's been on here, Jockey's been on here, so it
2, 1.
Okay. And how do you get yourself sort of, Glen, from when you maybe play, I don't know if it's the same when you play in club games, what's the noise level like there? Is it the same sort of thing, or is it, how do you like level out with playing in a club game to when you're playing like on the stage there at Lakeside?
First of all, it's fantastic to give the opportunity to answer these questions, because I play local league still. I play in the Northansville Workmen's because out of respect to them, they're the first people that sponsored me. They've got the dart area is called Duzza's Den. There's this huge, massive photo of me winning it there, and I get more nervous playing locally than when I'm on that stage. And just a slight example is that I usually go on first because my philosophy is I'd like to put us 1-0 up, and then for the team to go on and win. And it's just, as soon as I go for the bullseye, the whole pub and club come to watch my game. Any of the 8 games that are on that night, there's just 1 or 2 who come over to watch. So I feel like every time I've got to put on a performance. So, and for an athlete, you know, when you're playing local league, it's just like your groundwork. It's just your revision. It's just your practice, and you're just trying to recreate that when you're on that bigger stage. And it's just a culmination of that, really. When you're on your big stage, you're thinking, just pretend you're in the Northansville Workmen's. Just pretend you're practicing in your bedroom. So it's a real mind game. And if I can touch on that a little bit later, you know, 80% of darts is in your mind. And you know, it's hard to get that balance, that transition from local league to playing on a main stage. And they're the kind of battles that you have with yourself.
And just going back to that special moment when you did win the world title, that game itself, the final against Mark McGeaney, it seemed to swing from one way to another. I know watching it myself, I thought when you went 6-4 up, I thought, we're there, it's almost there, but it didn't turn out that way. How did it feel for you up on the stage?
I'll try and give you a quick brief. I mean, nobody ever talks about the Danny Noppert game, you know, the final I had last year. So, you know, a 7-3, quite straightforward win. I think this 7-6 win has been the best thing that could ever happen to me, because everybody wants to talk about the game. Now, before the match starts, you go closest to the bullseye. Now, I'm a classic front runner. If I can go set up, I usually go on and win. I'm not known for someone who's a real fighter and real determination and coming back at people. So I lost the bull. And for 6 sets, I just could not get in front. I was higher in the averages, I was scoring better than him, but he was just hitting that winning dart each time. So when I did go 6-4, I totally agree with you. You went backstage again, and you know, I said, I'm going to win now. I'm going to win 7-4 or 7-5, because when I'm in front. But I went back out there, and I thought, I am absolutely stone cold sober right now. And that's when your demons start playing with you. And I remember saying to the ref, do we go off at 6 each? So mentally, I'm already thinking, the way I'm feeling right now, I'm going to lose the next.
So was that at 6-4?
6-4. I thought, I'm stone cold sober again. I should maybe have had a little drink out the back, or just to help myself that way, and I didn't. So mentally, I was under the cosh at that point. I was struggling right up until when he hit that. He missed the dart to go and win the match, and then something happens again, and you start thinking, well, maybe it is my time to win. You know, maybe someone is watching down, and the double 1 was incredible, the 1-4-9 was amazing, and the last leg, you know, I was always in control then.
Oh, fantastic. Well, like I say, we want to talk more about darts as well later on, Glen. We want to talk about the Boro now, and obviously you've touched on your early days supporting the Boro. You were at the game on Saturday, and Tony Pulis' appointment, were you happy with that?
I was, not necessarily for the team. And I think about the whole infrastructure of the club, and I was delighted to hear that already he's thinking that the squad's too big, and he likes the squad around about 23 players. He's got his system, he's got his experience, and you know, it's something that you can't buy. I was surprised, like any Boro fan, when Monk went, even though I wasn't Gary Monk's biggest fan. And I just watched Pulis on Saturday, and he was blasting out the orders to people. I felt sorry to George Friend and Traore, who were on the left-hand side of the pitch there. So I think he's come in to do more than just a job for the team. I think he's going to have a good look at how the club's running, and I think that all goes well really for the Boro.
Definitely. I know the last few games have been unfortunate in terms of home results. We've had 3 out of the 4 games. We've lost 1-0, and we've arguably been the better team in all 3 games. Are you worried about that, Glen, or do you just think it's just one of those things, just being a bit unlucky at the moment?
I think I'm quite happy at the moment, and it was funny. I got a fantastic opportunity to go into the dressing room afterwards, and the players weren't as disappointed as I thought they were going to be. And again, without saying it, I met Steve Gibson, and it was just a fantastic moment for me. And his words were, "Tuesday's the priority, Glen."
Right.
So already the club are thinking about the Sheffield Wednesday game, and after what happened to QPR, if we can keep that momentum going, and just be gutted that Fulham scored a couple of late goals.
Yeah,
it's getting to that stage of the season now where you're watching other teams around you. So, but if we concentrate on what we do, I think we've got a big squad there, and usually in the Championship, the teams with the biggest squads come at the end are the ones who usually finish well. So I've got my fingers crossed like all fans.
Oh, good stuff. And tomorrow it's Sheffield Wednesday at home. A few familiar faces will be coming back. Jordan Rhodes, Jacob Butterfield, Adam Reach. Hopefully we'll get our first league goals at home under Tony Pulis. Do you ever worry, just like maybe like a football fan superstition, do you ever worry when all players come back to your club and think, oh, they're bound to score against us or anything like that? Because I know one of my mates, he always has a bet that they'll score against the Boro. He said it's just going to happen. Yeah. Do you think like that?
I don't think that. I usually do it for the manager. You know, when a new club, so let's say Sheffield Wednesday will come to Boro tomorrow with a brand new manager. Right. Usually that's a bad sign where they've been on a bad run, new manager, they've got the momentum. I haven't really thought too much, but I've got to say that Adam Reach is a cracking player. I know we got 5 million for him, but I've been well impressed with him, and didn't realise Jacob Butterfield had gone to Sheffield. I'll be honest there. So they're a good side, new manager. I'm sure they'll come to Boro to play, and that might suit our game. Yeah. Because like you just said there, they've got a new manager, and I think they're undefeated since he's come on board. Really? Yeah, I think they've drawn 2 league games, and they're through to the 5th round of the Cup. Wow. And they've had a long injury list as well, so he's obviously getting them ticking over quite nicely. Would you fancy us for 3 points tomorrow, Glen? Well, I said 2-0 at the weekend, so my predictions are never the greatest. So I'm hopeful. I saw good things on Saturday. I thought the keeper's been a good buy. I thought we looked solid at the back, and I thought Ayala and Gibson looked like how they were playing a couple of seasons ago. I thought Clayton looked like he'd never been away and possibly deserves another chance. Traore, I could spend the next half hour talking. He's phenomenal, isn't he? I mean, I've seen some good players at the Boro. He's special. Yeah. I mean, he just lights that pitch up, the crowd as soon as he gets the ball. And for me, just give him the ball, because no pass is a bad pass. If it's 4 yards in front, he'll get it. If it's behind him, he's strong enough there. But I thought he was blowing a little bit near the end, so maybe his fitness with all them short sprints and everything, but lots of positives that I saw, and I'm excited for moving forward. Good stuff. I think that's maybe the only worry, isn't it, that maybe we're coming a little bit over-reliant on Traore, and sometimes the players are putting too much on him, and he maybe needs a little bit of support and a bit of help. But no, I'd take that on board. Do you think there'll be many changes to the team on Saturday, Glen? From Saturday, sorry, to tomorrow night. Do you think there'll be many changes? I wasn't that impressed with Fletcher. Right. He's a young lad, 7 million, big price tag. I'm sure under Pulis, if anyone's going to teach him and how he's going to learn, it'll be him. But he had that opportunity on Saturday, which I don't think he took. I'm sure there'll be changes to come in. But I thought we looked solid. Maybe 2 changes, because I don't think he'll play Clayton again, but he did absolutely nothing wrong. I'm sure whether he plays a Sombalong, I don't even know if a Sombalong is the kind of player that Pulis likes. No. And, he's been playing Gested ahead of him. That's right. And I do think he likes that big man up front. So a couple of changes. Okay. Well, then 24 hours after that, Glen, we've got the transfer window closing. Are you a fan of the transfer window? You enjoy it? You get in front of Sky Sports and you're watching everything coming along the bottom of the screen? I'll finish work at 4 o'clock and I'll get a flyer. The only problem I've got is I've got a really early start on Thursday. I'm off to Holland on Thursday for the Dutch Open, but I think the transfer centre is a revelation. And the way what Sky do and that, they just have this fantastic product, but I'm one of them people who buy into that. Enjoy it. It's a fantastic night. If we could buy any one player, like a dream signing, who would you like to sign? Oh, well, it's a good question. There was a lad at West Brom who we signed, number 10. And I can't think what his name is now. he came to the Borough, I thought he was absolutely terrific, and I had a feeling that he would, I thought Pulis would go back to his old club and sign him, but his name's gone from me a little bit. I just think maybe someone who's going to score us some goals. I haven't seen enough of Sombalonga. I went to Aston Villa away this year.
Right.
I think 0-0. I think.
Yeah, was that when Traore got sent off? Yeah.
Sombalonga was, oh my God, he was incredible.
Work
and
rate,
the Villa fans, I think, would have paid 30 million from there and then. So I think he deserves a chance. I just put my belief in Pulis, and hopefully. He said he's going to bring loan signings in rather than some big sign and sell a few players. I thought we got a good deal on Forshaw, a lot more money than I thought we would get. So let's put our trust in him. Yep,
excellent. Another question, just to think, like specific areas of the team, where do you think we might need to strengthen, if any?
And that's what I was doing. And like any fan, you're looking at what you're doing. I wouldn't touch the back five.
Yeah, they look very settled, don't they?
I really like Shotton.
Yeah.
I was not the biggest fan because I thought, I thought he was a centre half, come right back, but he was terrific.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think the keeper's been good. Ayala and Dale Fry came on and was pinging 60-yard passes, which I wouldn't be too worried about the back five there.
Yeah.
Creativity. A good little number 10 or something like that could be something, but again I don't think that's Pulis's favourite style of playing there. But yeah, there was an over-reliance on Traore, so the other side of the pitch where the goal's going to come from, where the assist's going to come from, but like I said, I think they're the areas there, but very solid and more positives than negatives from what I saw Saturday.
Oh, good. So just to sum up there with the Boro, how do you think this season's going to pan out? Glen, got 18 games to go.
Oh, it's a lot.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot. Like I say, you've caught me on a day when I'm quite positive, really.
Good.
Them days were a bit unlucky. Them 1-0s, they kill you. And I was away from home when I just played Scott Waits in the semi-final at Lakeside, and I came off in a Fulham fan, Dieter Hedman, who was the world number one, her partner. He tapped me on the shoulder and said Fulham just beat the Boro 1-0 there. So I think we need a little bit of luck. Yeah. I think Pulis has got the nous really to do a job for us, and if we get through via the playoffs, then great. Yeah,
fantastic. So going back to the darts, Glen, you've said that you intend to remain in the BDO now. So what targets or aims have you set yourself for the future?
Well, there's one main aim, and there's only 4 players have retained the title, of which obviously my name's in that now, which is very flattering and very humbling, but only Bristow ever won it in 84, 85, 86. So, if I can match what he's done, I guess that's the main aim.
Some achievement, yeah.
I read the Alex Ferguson autobiography, and last year I pretty much won that, and mentally I'm going to have some time off now. Yeah. This time I've won it, and I'm going to get straight back into tournament play, and like I said, I'm off to Holland this weekend.
Excellent. And obviously there you've mentioned Holland. Do you travel around the world playing darts?
Canada, Glen? Australia, Scandinavia, so Sweden, Finland, Belgium, Holland. Canada was special.
Right.
I missed out on going to Asia this year. The World Cup was in Asia, but England didn't send a team for funding problems that they had. That would have been good, but I've got the chance. And I'm a lad who never left Middlesbrough till his 18th birthday because of travel sickness. Right. So
making up for it now, then, Glen.
Now to be on flight after flight, train after train, it's great. But there's obviously, I know it's a classic and bit cheesy, but obviously there's no place like home, and I love being back home. Yeah. It's wherever I go, I try to promote the Boro, and I wear that shirt, and everybody, most of our players now know.
Well, I think everyone associates you with Middlesbrough now with the music and the shirt, definitely. Yeah. And in terms of like the crowd, is it popular all the way around the world when you go to these different venues?
Honestly, Germany now, I mean, if you're a good darts player in Germany, you could be an absolute icon now, because they've really, and there's a 3.5 million now watch the PDC finals this year. That seems to be the place. Holland was always the hotbed of darts, and you'd get over there, you get mobbed. Look, Asia, it's all soft tip darts. That's where it's like a computerized dart game. The PDC are trying to get into America as well. So, a game of darts is a real workman's game. Your tools are 20 quid. Yeah. It's repetition. You throw it at a dartboard. You've either, if you've got a real talent for it, mentally is where, you know, it all comes into it. It's a fabulous sport, and you know, behind football, it's one of the biggest, you know, what people watch on TV now. So, you know, all goes, and Barry Hearn is a real entrepreneur, and you know, the product he's created, and that's why the BDO have got to follow, because you know, I won on Channel 4, but I don't think I'm back on telly again now till the Grand Slam, and that's not good. So we need to learn lessons from that.
Fantastic. And I know you just mentioned there, Glenn, you touched on about the psychological side of the game, and I find it quite fascinating that you think you're playing the same game and it's like, but each leg is completely different. And how can you like program yourself to pick yourself up after such a setback in one leg and then you go again in the next leg? How do you manage to do that?
And they're the kind of things you're fighting with yourself when, you know, when you're stood behind someone, especially when they suddenly hit a purple patch. I mean, some days I can wake up and I can throw a triple 20 underarm. Second time, you know, it's hard enough to hit a big 20. And that's the most fascinating thing about the game. And there's a classic term of dart, it genuinely is on the day. But like you said, leg for leg, you can go 11 dart at one leg. You know, next time you're flying them into big 5s and 1s. So, you know, usually, and that's why Phil Taylor was so good, because he had such a concentration level which was second to none. So it's a fascinating but also very frustrating sport.
Fantastic. Well, thank you, Glenn. It's been really a privilege and an honour to meet you tonight and have a chat with you about your success in winning this trophy and all your things about being a Boro supporter. So it's been a real pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
No, you're welcome. Thank you, Glenn. Just a few reminders before we go tonight. Stockton Town and Mask United are both at home in the last 16 of the FA Vars this Saturday. So if you're not going to Norwich, try to get to one of those games and cheer our local sides as they go one step closer to Wembley. Don't forget on Wednesday as well, that's the night where Jimmy and Josh are going to be presenting Off the Bench live at 7 o'clock from Maverick Sports Bar. It's guaranteed to be a great night, so we hope to see lots of you there. And remember to keep up to date with all things Boro during the week on BoroFanTV. Thanks again for watching. Until next week, from myself and Glenn, Red and White, you and me, Monday at 6, BoroFanTV. All the best.
Up the Boro.